Where your pleasure is, there is your treasure. Where your treasure is, there is your heart. Where your heart is, there is your happiness. St. Augustine. Robert will light the chalice this morning here in the sanctuary. Those of you at home are invited to light your own chalice now. We gather this hour as people of faith with joys and sorrows, gifts and needs. We light this beacon of hope as a sign of our quest for truth and meaning in celebration of the life we share together. Thank you, Robert. Before we sing the first hymn, let me remind our remote participants to leave yourselves muted. However, we do want you and whoever is with you to sing with us as big and loud as you like. Make it a joyous experience. Please stand in body or spirit and sing the opening hymn, "Oh, the Beauty in a Life."
Oh, the beauty in the life that illumines honor anew, that models wise and gracious ways to every seeker, that every day shall serve in joy and to the light. Oh, praise the life whose beauty shows a justice true, that not service dignified be confined to great saints alone, but every hour be part of all our daily living. Set not the hope of wisdom's grace beyond our kin. How wide the path, how close the goal which love has shown. Oh, the beauty of a life that illumines care of the soul, that knows a love that is for self as well as others, that every day embodies praise for every good. This is the faith to which we turn our God and goal.
Welcome to the Unitarian University. Kind of. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist community of Cambria. We're glad you've joined us today. Our UUCC sanctuary sits on land that the Salinan and Chumash indigenous people historically inhabited. We honor their contribution to this region and give thanks for the opportunity to gather in faith on their unceded territory. Let us respect their legacy and protect their history as we occupy this sacred space. As Unitarian Universalists, we celebrate religious diversity and welcome all who journey in search of faith and spirituality. The UUCC is a lay-led congregation run by the democratic process. We invite speakers from different religious traditions and spiritual or scientific backgrounds to speak at our pulpit. We encourage presentations covering a variety of topics and areas of interest that connect with the UU7 principles. Today's service centers around two principles. The third principle, we affirm and promote acceptance of one another and encourage spiritual growth in our congregation. And the fourth principle, we affirm and promote a free and responsible search for truth and meaning. My name is Mary Ann Anderson, and I am pleased to be your worship associate for this morning's service. Hi, Mary Ann. Hi. Aloha. I would like to extend a very special welcome to today's guests and visitors. We're glad you've joined us this morning. And if you wish, please raise your hand, or if you'd like to, stand up and introduce yourself or your guest. Yeah.
You'll hear more from me in a minute. My name is Lisa Murphy. We moved here in April, and I just met a few members of your congregation recently, and during the announcement thing, I'm going to be talking a little bit about the proposed national meeting today.
Thank you and welcome. And welcome to all those other shy people in the room. If you're not on our mailing list, please visit the UUCC website at uuccambria.org so that we can keep you informed about all of our activities. Members and friends, please check out what's happening, the e-blast sent to you every week. This is a great way to keep up to date with our latest news. And if you wish to see this or any other Zoom past services, the recordings can be found on the UUCC website and on Facebook. So again, good morning and welcome to everyone. The affirmation is both a recognition of the nature of this community as well as a promise to which we aspire. Let us now recite the UUCC affirmation. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its prayer. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in freedom, and to help one another. We now set aside this time for any special announcements that would be of interest to our UU community members and friends. Please keep your items short and to the point. If something needs more explanation, please contact the person after the service. If you'd like to make an announcement, please raise your hand. When Randy or I call your name, please step up to the podium or unmute yourself and then speak. Sherry.
That was a race. I win. Good morning. Tomorrow at 4:30 on Zoom, we will be having our monthly worship committee meeting. So those who are members, please be there. And if you're interested in joining our meeting, and you're all welcome to, please send me a note on email, and I'll send you the link. Kate, yes. Oh, yes. And by the way, it's our turn to organize a hike. We're going to do a hike on Thursday morning. We're going to meet at that Washburn turnout just before you get to the San Simeon campground. And we're going to hike this Washburn Trail. So that's this Thursday, 9 o'clock. Meet us there. And if you want any further information, talk to me or Mary. And we'd love to have you join us. It's a fun time, bring a lunch, and it's a great day.
So I'm guessing, how many of you guys are already familiar with the Shumash proposal? So a lot of you guys. We're on the last push for it. There's only 4 more days for comment. I've been talking to people around town and putting this flyer up and asking businesses to sign on. But being new to the community, about 1 in 10 people have an interest in listening to me. And you guys are more embedded in the community. And I think it's really important to get this last push in. And so I know a lot of you guys have already signed the petition. And this is, PJ, I think, talked with you about this. She's been working on this for 10 years. I've only talked on the phone with her. I've never actually met her in person yet. You guys know her better than I do. But it just incredibly impressive, the work they've done so far. And this is a letter that was written by the Shumash tribe, right? And it addresses the big issues that are out there. But the biggest one that affects us is the boundary map. And it's really important to go back to the initial boundary plus the Gaviota extension. And I just learned a little bit more information at a bat talk I was at yesterday. I do bat research as well. And the reason for the cutout here is there's more wind farm leases that can be leased out, can be sold at there. And so with this petition, you'll see it's just asking for thoughtful planning of wind farms, right? It's not for or against them. It's just saying, put us all in the sanctuary. Let's understand that this place is incredibly special. If you want to talk more about it afterwards, there's an upwelling issue. That's the nutrients that come up and cycle in that feed everything around here. A recent article came out on that. If you want to talk to me afterwards, I'm going to stick around for the service and I'll be around afterwards. Also, I'm going to leave my email address, which is rangermurphy@gmail.com. If you have any questions, reach out to me, please. And if you know anybody with businesses, these cards are there for business sign-ons. Cool. Thank you very much.
So you know how we took a picture the other week, right, of the congregation. So a question came up. We photoshopped in people that weren't here, that are members, okay? Okay, if you have a problem with that, please let me know and we will take your picture out because we're gonna use that, you know, for our new advertising and stuff like that, okay? So if you have a problem, please let me know this week, okay?
Where do you see the picture?
We took, where did we take it?
Where do you see it? I haven't seen it.
In the newsletter. Okay, that tells me something. Okay.
So Operations Committee meeting, and it's on a different, usually we meet last Thursday, but we're meeting this Thursday on Zoom at 6 o'clock. We're going to talk more about our postcards and some advertising and some fun stuff coming up. So if you want the email link, the Zoom link, let me know, okay? This Thursday, 6 o'clock on Zoom.
I think that's it with the sanctuary, Randy. Anyone in Zoom land? I see Diane. Diane?
You're muted.
Diane's there, but she's muted.
Thank you. We have our luncheon, our annual luncheon coming up for members, and we will be voting for.
Who can read lips?
Ask her to send Randy a text real quick,
Yeah.
and then you can read it.
Diane, we cannot hear you, but would you please send it? Yes.
I just have to turn the volume up. Hey. We have third time. We have our yearly annual luncheon coming up on November 19th. And we are providing a brunch for all the members and hope you can all be there to come and vote for the new board openings where people will be running. And we will be discussing the year and the treasurer's report. And it's the place to be, November 19th, right after the service. Thank you.
Thank you, Diane. Next week, Judy Butler will host Remembrance of People Past. And I don't know if she's still looking for volunteers. So if you would like to share anything, I'm going to speak in her stead. Anything, a remembrance of a person or a little picture or an item of somebody who's passed that you wanted to share, please contact Judy Butler for that. Sharing together some of our personal and significant joys and concerns brings us closer as a faith community. We invite you to share the milestones that are deeply felt as a part of your personal life, express a gratitude, or perhaps offer an acknowledgement. But please be mindful and considerate of all who come to worship with us this morning. The collective flames of these candles embody all the joys and concerns which may not have gone spoken today, but are also deeply felt in this community. The first reading is an excerpt from Mystic Codes 833 by Rumi. Our death is our wedding with eternity. What is the secret? God is one. The sunlight splits when entering the windows of the house. This multiplicity exists in the cluster of grapes. It is not in the juice made from the grapes. For he who is living in the light of God, the death of the carnal soul is a blessing. Regarding him, say neither bad nor good, for he is gone beyond the good and the bad. Fix your eyes on God and do not talk about what is invisible, so that he may place another look in your eyes. It is in the vision of the physical eyes that no invisible or secret thing exists. But when the eye is turned toward the light of God, what thing would remain hidden under such a light? Although all lights emanate from the divine light, don't call these lights the light of God. It is the eternal light, which is the light of God. The ephemeral light is an attribute of the body and the flesh. O God, who gives the grace of wisdom, the bird of vision is flying towards you with the wings of desire. Let us join now in a time of meditation, of prayer, and of silence. Let us seek the quiet and the calm, laying aside our struggles. And in the silence, may there be a reverence in our hearts, a thankfulness within our spirit, and a deepened understanding of the meaning of our lives. Let us enter the stillness. When love and compassion are present in us and we send them outward, then that is truly prayer. Further, in sending love outward, we may notice a change in our own heart. The second reading is a poem by a fellow musician, Anson Wright. Learn from the sadness. Learn from the sadness of a starless night. Learn from the tears of a mother near the grave of her son. Learn from the Lord Almighty in the thundering sky above Calvary. Learn from the Pharaoh asleep near his firstborn on a night shattered by screams. Learn from the swollen lips of Africa's dark-eyed children. Learn from the families huddled silent in Central America's countless graves. Learn from the shadows on Nagasaki's walls. Learn from the toothless women walking to Hitler's chambers. Learn you shall not sacrifice the weak. Learn that sacrifice in the name of freedom leads not to the promised land, but to darkness. Learn you shall not buy freedom with another's death. The anthem today is called Comunión, meaning communion. The music is composed by Jasnam Daya Singh, Portuguese original lyrics by Taquinho, English translation by myself. Jasnam?
Touch me with light from the slow burning sun. Let me bathe in the glow of the moon. Sprinkle the sand with the wind and your whispers like rivers of love on a warm afternoon. Sing me a melody tasting of time as the infinite heavens ascend with your smile, and the sea running wild in your eyes. I am yours. I am lost. I am suddenly silent and wait for the dawn. Like a dream you appear, then you're gone. Color my blood like the rose petal wine. Let the form of my body be strong. Give me the grace and the beauty of face. Make my enemies few and my earthly years long. Cover me with a cloak of your comfort. Sing me to sleep with your haunting embrace. Teach me to know when the time comes for passing. Let me commune with the soil and the slate. Let me feel everything and feel nothing. Then I'll wake from the dream and be gone.
Thank you. I can't tell you what a pleasure it's been to collaborate with this man for the past 36 years. I can't tell you. Today's talk is titled Seva, Selfless Service, Walk the Walk, to be given by and delivered by Jasnam Daya Singh. And I should tell you that this biography, which might sound a little bit long, has been cut down to a third of what was there. Born Weber Ribeiro Drummond in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil on February 17, 1962. It wasn't until the mid-90s that Weber adopted the stage name Weber Iago, an homage to the Roma people known as the Gypsies. Since taken Amrit, the initiation into the Sikh religion, Iago has adopted the name Jasnam Daya Singh. Jasma has spent all of his musical life researching different types of sounds, ultimately dedicating most of his endeavors to uniting elements of classical, jazz, and Brazilian music. In Brazil, Jasnam spent many years developing his craft as a concert pianist, as well as a composer, writing mostly piano and chamber music works. In the early 80s, he moved to Los Angeles. In 1987, he began working with notable musicians such as Moacir Santos and flautist James Newton. In 1990, he moved to the Monterey Peninsula, where he formed different ensembles over the years, the most important in his career being the sextet Zen Blend in 1991, which was then categorized as esoteric jazz. Also in the 90s, Jasnam, still under the name Weber Drummond, recorded 2 CDs with the great Brazilian guitar player Romero Lubambo, and was a band leader at jazz festivals all over the world, in Brazil, Mexico, the US, France, Belgium, China, and South Korea, to name a few. Jasnam has also performed extensively as a solo artist and sideman in Italy, Luxembourg, New York, Japan, and the Czech Republic. He has released several CDs over the years, Children of the Wind, which you would love, and Spring Will Stay Here. Jasnam has made constant appearances also at the Monterey Jazz Festival. In 2005, Jasnam was commissioned by the Carmel Bach Festival to write a composition uniting different musical genres, such as classical and jazz, the result being Jazz Concertino for Piano and String Orchestra. Jasnam's experience as an educator has brought him to clinics and workshops in Brazil, Belgium, California, and the renowned Jazz School in Berkeley, California. He has written music for several plays, Bar Lies by Anna Luca, which is my pseudonym, and arranged songs for the Kepler Project by Nina Wise. For Anna Luca, Iago composed an original score to accompany the novel. He has also worked with Darius Wallace on a program that has been repeatedly successfully performed in Portland with the Chamber Orchestra, called a poet, actor, performer, singer called My Word is, My Words Are My Swords. Thank you. As a producer, Jasnam has recently accomplished the project Caminho Cruzado, a CD by the Russian-American vocalist Marsha Campagna. Over the years, Jasnam Daya Singh has received countless commissions by different artists as well as musical institutions all over the world, including the American Composers Forum. In 2009, Singh's CD, still as Weber Iago, in duo with Jovinho Santos Neto, received the Latin Grammy nomination for Best Instrumental Album. Jasnam's current project is the band Seva, which he co-leads with the guitarist-composer from Bulgaria, Christoph Vachev. Currently, Jasnam Daya Singh works extensively as a performer, composer, and arranger. Please welcome Jasnam Daya Singh.
Good morning. Thank you so much for your kind and generous reception here. It had been a long time since I came to Portland. I mean, not to Portland, to Cambria. And I'm very happy to be here this weekend with you all, playing music and sharing a little bit of my spiritual journey. What I chose to share with you this morning is titled Seva, Selfless Service, Walk the Walk, exploring the notion of one's spiritual life being demonstrated with actions rather than just words. When we examine most, if not all, the religions in the world, we learn that the founders of all of them had not particularly set out to create a religion, but a way of life. First, I would like to spend a minute or so on the very word religion, which comes from the word redigare, Latin for, it means to reconnect. So these masters and sages who became founders of religions have been showing us throughout time how to reconnect. But what and who are we reconnecting with? With our source, with our creator? And by becoming the followers of this or that master, does it imply then that we are to take steps on a particular path? This is very interesting and all until we stumble on the questions. Which path? How many paths are there? Which one is the right one for me, or yet, which one is the right one, period? Perhaps all the conflicts that have existed for millennia have to do with that, with the very fact that although religion has provided many beautiful and positive teachings, we seem to have gotten too attached to something else, which is the notion that there has to be the one right road to take. Needless to say that kind of thinking has created a scenario where people spend more time on the business of convincing others or proselytizing, and not so much on the work towards growth. During my talk here today, I would like to double down on a few topics that I covered the first time I spoke here via Zoom about Sikhi or Sikhism. Some of them have to do with the very things that attracted me to the Sikh faith. The first one I want to bring up is the one called Nam Japna, which consists of the remembrance of God by repeating and focusing the mind on God's name or identity. That is a contemplation or meditation, but the kind of meditation one does without necessarily having to be sitting down. You could be walking, driving, working, you name it. And at the same time chanting or thinking the word Waheguru, Punjabi for wondrous God. The concept behind that is that you think of God with each breath. And why is that so powerful? Because once that practice becomes second nature, so does what comes from it, which is your actions being filled with and inspired by God's energy. Another tenet in Sikh is called Vandshakna, and that means sharing one's earnings and one's time towards community and humanitarian service. Much is said about the religion Sikhi being a practical one, and that can be summed up by the following statement. Sikhi consists of practical living in rendering service to humanity and engendering tolerance and brotherly love towards all. The Sikh gurus did not advocate for retirement from the world in order to attain salvation. That can be achieved by anyone who earns an honest living and leads a normal life. My perception of all this is, if we strive to have our actions inspired by the divine, then it doesn't matter which religion we practice. In fact, it might not matter if we have a religion at all. The reason I chose Sikhi is because it spoke to me on a very profound level. However, I'm aware that different people are inspired by different philosophies and teachings, and that takes us back to what I brought up here a few minutes ago, the choice of a path. As we search for path, we'll notice that our teachers are everywhere. In fact, over the years, I have noticed them quite often and in various circumstances. I have seen teachers in different parts of the world. They speak different languages, have different backgrounds and levels of education. They are women and men. They're children and people of advanced age. They all have one thing in common, though. They all demonstrate their spirituality with their actions, with their kindness, with their presence and unwavering willingness to give. I don't know if they practice a religion or go to churches of any kind. I know some who even claim to be atheists. I remember vividly when in 1996, I read about Keshia Thomas, an 18-year-old Black woman who, during a rally in her hometown in Michigan, shielded with her own body a white supremacist and Ku Klux Klan member who fell on the ground and was about to be beaten by a group of people. That story inspires me to this day. She is my teacher. Back when I still live in Brazil, I used to hear a story about a farmer who had his farm and crops frequently damaged by all kinds of animals. He would go out, capture those animals, get them in crates, drive them outside his property, and release them. He is my teacher. All people who dedicate their time and energy to promoting the well-being of anyone, whether they do that through random acts of kindness or through an organized volunteering system, they are my teachers. You see, I do appreciate rhetoric that promotes spiritual life. There are times for that, when we engage in speeches with the intention of disseminating spiritual ideas close to our heart. Here we are with you so kindly opening up this forum for me to share with you. But let's be clear, all the most beautiful words we may utter, in my humble opinion, must be followed by actions to match. In the Sikh tradition, we have a practice named Seva, which means selfless service. That practice is directed at people from all walks of life, not only Sikhs. One of the most well-known sevas by the Sikhs is the langar, or community kitchen, in which people are fed regardless of them being part of the Sangat congregation or not. In fact, Sri Harmandir Sahib, also known as the Golden Temple in Amritsar, in the state of Punjab, India, feeds between 150,000 and 200,000 people every single day. And that practice is carried out all over the world wherever Sikhs are present. I've been reading about the Unitarian Universalist principles, and I'm happy to say they're all in consonance with tenets of the Sikh faith. I think most faiths have more in common than we seem to realize. I would like to point out specifically acceptance of one another and encouragement to spiritual growth. And you finish the phrase with "in our congregations." But I believe that can be applied everywhere. Also, a free and responsible search for truth and meaning, which, by the way, reminds me of a principle in Sikh that goes like this: realization of truth is higher than all else. Higher still is truthful living. Many years ago, I was playing a gig in a hotel, and during my break, this nice gentleman struck up a conversation with me, and it didn't take long for us to go from music to politics and then spirituality. He then said something that has stayed with me to this day. I want for the things that I think, that I say, and that I do to be the same. It seems so simple, right? But I wonder how often we are capable of achieving that consistency, a consistency that has its origin in being true to oneself. Our conflicts with one another derive from ego and the illusion of separateness, the very illusion of us versus them. And that is enough to raise up walls and promote fear, which in turn promotes hatred. And that's why it feels to me that actions end up being a stronger language. Let's face it, we may be in a part of the world where they don't speak our language and we don't speak theirs. But to the rescue come all those elements of our universal communication. Our eyes and the way we look at people, the kindness in our voice, even if we don't know each other's words. Best of all, the energy we exude, which can speak volumes as we relate to each other. Let me tell you, musicians do experience that kind of pure expression of universal communication. You may be walking down the street somewhere in Lithuania, carrying your guitar, and before you know it, you'll be taking part in a jam session in someone's practice studio or in some unassuming bar. Back to words. There comes a time when our beautiful words get easily interpreted as cliches. After all, it costs nothing to express them. Now, getting out there in the world and doing, initiating projects, taking real steps towards accomplishing good things for our neighbor, far and near, that's when our paths get serious, when we have prayer in action. And actually, that reminds me of another concept that I would like to share with you, and is the one named Midi Pidi. Midi represents temporal authority, and Pidi represents spiritual authority. Basically, it's about integrating our spiritual awareness with the earthly life and everything it comprises. To me, the question that persists is, what is all this for? I mean, choosing a path, a faith, a community, a religion, what are we aiming at? I feel that one way or another, throughout time, masters and sages have been laying down the foundation for the students to achieve self-knowledge. And that reminds me of a quote by a great author, Koji. Darkness cannot be destroyed, but it can be eliminated by substitution with light. Similarly, ego cannot be destroyed or wished away, but it can only be substituted with the realization, awareness, or consciousness of the divine light. When we Sikhs talk about Guru Nanak, the founder of Sikhi or Sikhism, we refer to him as the light he was in the world. He spent years of his life traveling all over India, as well as other countries. His travels are called Udasis, or divine journeys, and he did 4 of them. He traveled with his companion Be Mardana, who was his follower and also a musician who accompanied him playing stringed instruments as Guru Nanak sang his inspirational verses. And Guru Nanak is considered to be the most traveled person in the world, and that's saying a lot, especially considering he and Be Mardana, his companion, did it all on foot or by boat. These travels were not intended to get converts or adepts to a congregation. Rather, Guru Nanak aimed at showing people how they could connect with the divine light as they walked on their own path. The word guru actually is the contraction of 2 words, gu, darkness, and ru, which means light. So the word guru means the one who shows the light, which dispels the darkness. How much of our darkness is self-inflicted? Sometimes I have the feeling that most of it is. Are we not in touch with teachings, or do we choose not to receive them? Could it be that we're not receiving them because of all the noise in our minds? In the music world, we frequently talk about silence being as important as sounds. And that's a great analogy for how we conduct ourselves in the world and how we communicate with one another. A big part of the dynamics of communication comes from a genuine willingness to listen, in the concept that listening may be even more important than speaking. I believe that before all that happens, we must have a real desire for quiet, for silence and introspection, and pretty much understanding that any conversation we have with others really begins within. Actually, everything begins within. Listen, we refer to God and we point up. We talk about God and we look up. Why not point within? Why not look within? If we do that and really accept that we are all one, then we realize that what we find in ourselves, we'll find inside others, because there is no other. And that's the very reason why our spirituality expressed in action is something we end up doing for ourselves and our very lives. In closing, I would like to say that everything I'm sharing with you all here today feels like a lengthy expressed thought. It's like you are allowing me to indulge in this thinking out loud. By doing this, I feel like I'm reminding myself of how I want to be and where I want to go. This journey gets to be renewed every single day. And the beauty of that is, if we engage in daily self-discovery and make conscious decisions of which directions to take, we immediately eliminate guilt from our lives, because we accept that our so-called shortcomings are not life sentences, but life lessons. Thank you.
Thank you, Jasnam. I'm going to break from script for just a moment because I really want to recognize 3 people who have given so much selfless service, hours and hours and hours of their time to this particular UUCC community. And that's Jan Kallner, Mary Schwalbe, and Randy Schwalbe. They give hours and hours of their time to make everything work here. So I personally want to thank them. The morning offering will now be given and received. Please remember, we are a self-sustaining congregation and provide all financial resources for our many ministries. We recognize the spiritual value of generosity and invite you to participate. If you are viewing this service remotely, please use one of the methods shown on the screen. Thank you. Our thanks for all the gifts given and received, and for the work of this community. Please stand in body or spirit and sing the closing hymn, For All That Is Our Life.
We sing our thanks and praise for all that is a gift which we are called to use to build the common good and make our own days glad. For needs which others serve, for services we give, for work and its rewards, for hours of rest and love, we come with praise and thanks for all that is our life. For sorrow we must bear, for failures, pain and loss, for each new thing we learn, for fearful hours that pass, we come with praise and thanks for all that is our life. For all that is our life, we sing our thanks and praise. For all life is a gift which we are called to use to build the common good and make our own days glad.
We extinguish the flame of this chalice, and we know that the light of faith and love and the warmth of this community go with us until we meet again. And as we have extinguished the chalice, let us recite the valediction. Oh. Well, let's do it together. Yeah. Sorry about that. I'm a little kerfuffled. We extinguish the flame of this chalice, and we know that the light and truth and love and the warmth of this community go with us until we meet again. Please extinguish your chalice at home now. Now let us form a circle and join hands, and we will be blessed with closing words from Jasnam.
I express to you my gratitude for receiving me here this weekend, and I'd like to offer to you my the words of Shardi Kala, which means having highest spirits no matter what we go through in life. Thanks so much again.